Alright guys, it's time for part 2 of the silver stacking series, and this video is going to be about what to look out for. What to look out for in terms of being taken advantage of, high premiums, crazy shipping prices, bulk buying, things like that, but also what to look out for in terms of, man, that's a really good deal and you should snatch it up. Do not let a good deal go to waste because they don't come around very often. But if you're new to stacking silver, it is important to know that this current situation we're going through with silver and gold and the stock market in general, this is not normal. It doesn't normally work like this. Now, I didn't start stacking silver until last year, late last year actually, and even then it was a completely different ball game. We weren't seeing premiums like you're seeing premiums now. I think silver was just over 16 an ounce, and I was paying just over 18 an ounce for generic rounds. And I wish we could go back to those days. Eventually, I'm sure we will. But if you're getting generic rounds for under $20 an ounce, I think that's a pretty good deal. I can go to my local coin shop and I can exchange, basically, I can exchange a $20 bill for a generic round. That's in fairly good shape. Obviously, I trust the coin shop that I go to, but I still test everything that I get because, you know, why wouldn't you? That's another thing we might talk about is how to test some of these things, maybe eventually in a future video, how to test your silver without damaging it. I'm not a big fan of that, but how to test your silver to make sure it is legitimate. That's another way you can avoid being taken advantage of. Another thing is spot price. I tend to look at spot price as more of a guideline than a rule, because like I say, if you're getting generic rounds for under 20 an ounce, I think you're generally doing pretty good. I think that's a pretty safe bet, especially considering what I think is going to happen with the purchasing power of the US dollar. I think you're definitely going to be better off with silver anyways, but just try not to get anything that's, you know, too outrageous over spot. You know, I think if you're, let's say spot price was at 15 even, and you're paying $20 for a generic round, I think you're still probably doing all right. Now obviously that's $5 over spot, but if you're going 20 or under, I think you're, just generally speaking, for an ounce of 999 fine, I think you're probably doing all right. Like I say, I think it's more of a guideline than a hard rule. It is something to be aware of. Obviously, you don't want to be taken advantage of. And if, you know, silver goes down to $5 an ounce, you don't want to be paying $20 an ounce. Another thing I would stay away from right now is silver eagles. If you are not aware, silver eagles are carrying an outrageous, in my opinion, premium. Some silver eagles I see are going for up to $30 an ounce. And I don't know who's buying these things, but it damn sure is not me. I'll tell you what I'm buying a lot of. I'm still buying some generic rounds, but I have just been in a kick for the past couple of months on constitutional silver. Junk silver is such a good buy because I can still find such good deals on it. I can get off of, I just found on Etsy, I've been buying Mercury dimes and the pre-65 Roosevelt dimes. More silver quarters. Stacking up on that. My local coin shop, I went the other day and bought some generic rounds, but also bought a bunch of 64 Kennedy half dollars. And the deal that I was getting at the coin shop, it was like $14.50 face for junk silver, constitutional silver. So these are all, like I talked about in the last video, these are all the 90% silver coins, the quarters, the dimes, getting all that, the half dollars. I have some Morgan dollars that I picked up as well. I love that stuff, and I love it, especially the dimes, because you can get them very cheap, and man, they do not take up much space when you're stacking. And that's always a very, very pleasant thing. But yes, I would definitely stay away from silver eagles. The general rule of thumb for premiums, and this is in what I would say the good times and the bad, this being more along the bad times because of what's going on with the prices. Some of the stuff with premiums is outrageous, and I don't blame a lot of these channels where they're talking about, I'm calling it quits for now, or I'm putting it on a hiatus. Because some of this stuff is crazy. If you've seen the prices and if you've dealt with any of this stuff before the current situation with C-19 and all this stuff going on with the shutdowns and the stock market just going like all over the place, Federal Reserve shoveling trillions of dollars on the economic fire, and you see what's going on with these premiums. And even as we saw, silver went from last week something like 1540, 1530, 1540, about 15 and a half, and it shot up to just over 18, and then now it's settling back down in the 17s. But we saw what happened with the prices on the online dealers, and those premiums stayed there. It went up to match with spot, but the premiums went up to match with about the same percentage they already were. I see the generic rounds are 20, 21 and up. Obviously the Eagles are outrageous. The Eagles are going for like 30. I've seen it for 28, I think, is the lowest, which makes me really glad I bought some Silver Eagles right before the March crash. I think I bought 6 of them for, I still think I overpaid, but it was nothing like it is now. But generally speaking, the bigger bulk that you get, if you're getting the 100-ounce bars, or you're getting the kilogram bars, or the 10-ouncers, I actually just bought another 10-ouncer the other day, your premiums are usually a bit lower on those, but you still, obviously, you don't want to overpay. You just divide, 10 ounces, what is spot price, that's what the silver would be worth at the moment. But again, spot price, more of a guideline than a rule. I don't hound too hard on it. I do love the 5-ounce rounds. The 5-ounce rounds are great. I wish I could get more of those right now, but the premium, the premiums, as soon as this crash happened, the premiums went up really high on those as well. I had 3 that I bought from Golden State Mint, and it took like a month for shipping, so I never ordered anymore. But they were beautiful. They came out great when I finally got them, and man, I was paying I think 88 a piece plus shipping for those. Now those same rounds, well, they're out of stock, but all the similar rounds we're going for about 115 last that I looked, and that obviously that price is with a very high order. That's another thing to look out for. They always advertise what the absolute lowest price is, but unless you're paying with a money order or wiring them money, and you plan on buying about 1,000 of these things at a time, you're not going to get that super cool bargain. And also look out, you have to calculate your shipping cost into these things. But I would say to focus on constitutional silver. That's a great place to start. It doesn't take up a lot of room. You can still find really good deals on it. I mean, the Mercury dimes I was buying I think they were going for about $1.50 a pop. So I would just buy as many of them as I possibly can. Same with the Roosevelt dimes, same with the silver quarters. Just getting a bunch of that stuff, I mean, it's low cost, doesn't take up much room. I think that's a really good place to start. Find your local coin shop, man. Go and look around, see if you can get some 1-ounce bars. I wouldn't mess with fractional too much because you're looking at really high premiums on those as well. And, constitutional silver is fractional silver, so I would definitely go that route for fractional. When I first started, I did buy some fractional. I have some 1/4 ouncers. I have some 10th ouncers, which I'm trying to remember what I paid for those, but it was definitely too much. But stay away from that. Go with constitutional silver. Get some, you can get some bars, but the better deals I've been finding, I wanted to buy another 10-ouncer the other day, but it was right before the price went up to over 18. I had been eyeballing another 10-ounce bar, but then I noticed that I could buy 10 generic rounds for even cheaper. So sometimes you can find better deals on that. Places that I look besides local coin shops, the only place I have ever bought silver online, aside from, I eBay a lot, and I know eBay has high fees and everything. Not the best place for it, but my go-to for silver, when I want some brand new rounds, good looking quality stuff, I have bought from Golden State Mint, but the main one is silver.com, and I actually never hear anybody on these YouTube channels ever even mention silver.com. Silver.com has done me right every time. Even during the craziness that was March and early April, I had no problems with shipping. The cost is fair. I think it was like $5 for shipping with everything I've ordered, and I've put several orders through them. And I used them because that was the first place that I ever bought. So I would recommend them. They're not paying me to say this, But the important things to remember, to take away from all this, is watch your spot price, be aware of it, but think of it more as a guideline than a rule. Typically, if you're going 20 or under for generic rounds, you're probably going to end up being all right. I would stay away from Silver Eagles as long as they're this expensive, and there's no reason for them to really be that expensive in terms of like the silver content. They are gorgeous, they are good collector coins, and they are very easy to sell back in to make more money in the future. But don't leverage yourself. I would not pay $30 for, really, personally, I wouldn't pay $30 for any silver, at least at the moment. Maybe sometime in the future we might have to, but I certainly wouldn't do it now. I would get generic rounds, because all you really want is the silver value. I wouldn't focus too much on the others, especially when you're starting. You know, if in the future you want to get some collector's coins, you're going to pay high premiums. But if that's the route you want to go, that's something to decide in the future. I'm just talking from my standpoint what I do. I stack the silver for the precious metal content. I really don't care about anything else. It is cool to have, you know, Morgan dollars from the 1880s. That's pretty awesome. I do respect the history of some of these things, but I am about the silver content. But to wrap it up here so we don't go on too long, watch out for high premiums. Watch out for high shipping costs. Do not be fooled when it says that you can get around for $18, even though spot price is at $18 and you think it's a really good deal. Once you start clicking through the site, you're going to find out that that $18 deal is for if you're wiring them money and if you're buying over like 500 of these things at a time. If you can, that's awesome. But if you're like me, you don't have the money for that. Because if I had the money to be stacking like that, it wouldn't be silver that I would be stacking, I'll put it that way. It would be gold or maybe even diamonds.